So the measurement landscape today in 2023 is in a really exciting and transitional period. I think this time last year we were talking about testing and learning with different measurement partners, and at WBD we were hyper-focused on looking and evaluating the quality of different methodologies and criteria that allowed us to have confidence this year to not just say, are we looking to learn and do we think there's a there, but to actually operationalize and scale alternative measurement partners for currency capability for the next 23 upfront. I can tell you that the transition is real, but while last year we didn't know. This year we have confidence in what we do know now. There's a lot of opportunities with our measurement partners to think not only about counting from reach frequency and linear, but how do you actually bring it together with digital. And there's a lot of opportunity for us to actually learn in the next couple of quarters about how we can actually make sure we can integrate these data sets into our own systems internally so we can get to a place where we're transacting at scale, but also how do we work with our agency partners, but then also our other media peers, our other media publishers, to make sure that we're thinking not just about the short-term opportunity, but really future-proofing measurement and currency so it scales and it's just the norm in the next couple of years.
So there seems to be a lot of confidence in the industry that the emergence of a more competitive marketplace is delivering real improvements. Give us a sense of how that works in practice. How does competition deliver benefits?
Yeah, so we are big fans of competition, right? It only at the end of the day improves products on behalf of not only us having greater measurement capabilities for everything that runs across our portfolio. At WBD, we are in the business of storytelling. We tell them day in and day out on a linear environment and a streaming environment. In the previous world, we only had one partner, and there was not a lot of flexibility on how we thought more creatively or innovative in an innovative way of measuring those audiences and that viewership on behalf of our advertising partners. Now that we've got a bit of competition in the marketplace, fostering that competition, but also thinking about the fact that there are bigger data sets than ever before. When I say data sets, we're talking about not just set-top box, but ACR. How do you augment those viewership sets with personification, identity? How do we think about not just looking at a reach frequency, like I always say, but really enhancing that model? We can get to a media mix and making recommendations, being consultative with our partners. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we think this is really one of the most exciting times. I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think there's going to be a moment where we go back to just one. I don't think we're going to go to the world of 5, 10, 15, 20. This stuff is really hard. To be currency grade is not just hard, but it takes a lot of investment. And also, we want to make sure that we're not just focused on counting, but really thinking about the holistic media measurement picture from counting to efficacy. So this is going to take a little bit of time.
So competition is great, but we clearly haven't solved all the problems yet.
No.
Where do you still see measurement black holes that we need to come together to solve for?
Yeah, so I think from a measurement perspective, there's a lot of opportunity. This is still early days, and so while foundationally we have great confidence in how our measurement partners are thinking about making their data currency grade, we know that there's 4 areas of opportunity. One is standardization. So how do we think about that low-hanging fruit of building blocks around UEs? How do you actually count a digital versus a linear view, and how do you define it? How do you think about not time qualifiers and the like? This is just basic stuff that if we, as an industry, could rally around, but also our measurement partners could really think and gather together and start just defining these, we could really start scaling adoption of different currency. The second is personification, still very important. We don't need a ginormous panel, but we do need to make sure we have something to calibrate off of. The other is identity resolution, and then absolutely at the end of the day, transacting capabilities. That goes everything from the stewardship systems down to clean rooms. And so we think that there's a lot of opportunities. Digital outages, another thing where we have to think carefully around how do you model for that, how do you care for that, because of course that is obviously where much of the viewership is going, and we need to make sure that we're working with our partners as they think about how they're going to cover for that, because we absolutely want as holistic of a measurement approach as possible.
So competition is great, but so is collaboration. If there was one thing we came together to do as an industry this year to make measurement better for the good of the entire ecosystem, what would you like to see us focusing on?
Yeah, so what I said earlier, we believe strongly that there's the 4 ways that as an industry we can collaborate. I want to start first with the standardization. I think standardization is while it doesn't take away from the special sauce or the competitive advantages that different measurement partners come to, it actually allows us to just start having a common language across the board. And once we get past that, then we can get to some of the other things. And I think it's going to be a really a good year. And no one's not saying this. That's what I want to say. No one's not saying this. At Warner Brothers Discovery, we said we would welcome our measurement partners and our media publisher friends to come in and actually have a dialogue around this. Do we engage the VAB? You at SIM? Do we have a conversation with the ARF? Where do we actually bring in the right stakeholders to make sure that we could just like check a box with this and not have a conversation about this next year?